Shit, we got in the airplane and we took off.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Film Fumblers show. Today we're going to be talking about the movie Airplane, released in 1980 and directed by David Zucker, Jim Abrahams, and Jerry Zucker. I'm Adrian.
I'm Jay.
I'm James.
And I'm Taryn.
Alright, we don't have a shot for you guys today.
But we will crack one or two.
Yeah, we've been drinking all day kind of, so it's probably...
Bon and leave.
Ready?
Yeah.
1, 2,
Oh, God.
3.
Whoa.
I didn't even hear two different ones, do you? What? Cheers, boys.
Introduce that into like our
Cheers.
intro or something.
Cheers and cheers.
Back with the seltzer.
Back with the seltzers.
What are these ones called? Bon and Vive?
Bon and Vive, yeah.
Bon and Vive.
I've got cranberry.
Yeah, seltzers are kind of like the craze now. It's so weird.
Clementine hibiscus. I like this one the most.
Hey, there's a hibiscus.
After one
that is
drink.
good. Not like the next one I had.
Pear elderflower. Okay, so Airplane. What is there to say about this movie?
Okay. I love Leslie Neilsen. Leslie Neilsen was also in The Naked Gun, but that's a spinoff from a show back in the day called Police Squad. And I don't know where you can watch that now. I watched it on YouTube.
Yeah,
It
there's
is
clips
so
still on YouTube.
Goddamn funny. It's so
hilarious.
goddamn funny. So anything that he's in, I'm all for, because he's like, the way he delivers, even in this movie, the way he delivers lines is just stone fucking cold.
Yeah.
Hilarious, though.
Yeah.
And he doesn't
Yeah.
break not even for a second.
Yeah.
It's so good. The directors also wrote Police Squad and did, that show too. So
Cool.
I'm sure there's some recurring shit going on there.
Yeah, I haven't seen like really Leslie Nielsen in pretty much anything. Like I'm so ignorant of like his work, but just all of the references in this movie alone. I was like, I know this movie from just all of the pop culture references that I've seen from it. It's like, it's so crazy. But yeah, like when you see him first, when it shows him as a doctor, like he's asleep in the airplane, like, and he just has a stethoscope on. He's like, yes, I'm a doctor. And it's just like, just the way he enters in, you're like, this guy has something.
Yeah.
There's something that he has, and it's comedy. Like, it's just
It's good.
to deliver a single line, and you just like, this guy's hilarious. I don't know what it is. It's
Someone
great.
with those chops and that like voice just to do the stuff like this instead of like serious stuff is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
The entire movie and like the cast, they're just so perfect with the way they deliver the lines, and they're like almost like, I don't know, I mean they're real actors, but
Right.
but like the way they're just stone cold. There was only like one person who was like
You see him
kind
kinda
of
breaking a
cracking
little
up
bit?
because
Yeah.
they're just like, this is so dumb.
Yeah.
But everyone else, like, I guess they just have that like classical training of just the way they learned how to act and stuff.
Yeah. This movie's in a lot of like top 10 like funniest movies of all time, or like comedy, like historically like comedic movies ever made, shit like that. It's like obviously got cultural like, kind of yikes.
Oh man, yeah. Well, 1980,
Right.
I guess
Yeah.
even for 1980, it was probably still kind of
Yeah, exactly. It was a little,
controversial.
like, whoa. But it was also like, to flip that, the character of Johnny was one of the first like prominently like gay characters to appear on screen in like a favorable way, I guess.
Oh, okay.
And he's a great character. I mean, he just
Oh, yeah.
adds like life to that whole piece.
Yeah.
Look at that budget to box office ratio.
Oh, 3.5 million, and their box office was 158 million.
That is
Jeez.
insane.
Nice.
It's a nice ratio.
Insane.
This is in the National Film Registry in the Library of Congress as
Yeah.
being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant.
Wow.
That much
Does
of an
that say
impact.
something? That says a lot. That's crazy.
One of the scenes that I really love that you just think about how much they went for this, just for one little joke, was in the beginning when the guy's directing the airplane.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He flips it, and that whole plane crashes through a window. Like, all of that for
Destroys
one
the
little
whole
joke.
set.
Yeah, it's like the pilot's like, oh, okay, sure. Like,
Yeah.
it's so wacky. It's just like
Oh.
all of it. Like, I mean, even in the beginning, when you're talking about the beginning of the movie, it's like when they're talking about the red zone versus the white zone, and it's like there's two people narrating that, and they're like fighting over like what zone to be in. It's just everything like. You'd think it'd be like just some pre-recorded thing, you know, and that's repeated, but it's people live on the mic, like talking shit to each other, and they're like, "Oh, you think I should get an abortion?" And it's just all of it's.
The thing I love about this movie is like it just never lets up. There's never like downtime. Like they're just going.
Well, like in the beginning, like it's a little slow with the jokes, and then at the end, it doesn't fucking stop.
When they're about to land the plane, it's like zinger after zinger. After. That's all this movie is. It's just like
gotcha.
It's all of it is just one-liners that are just hilarious, and some of the one-liners they deliver to you 3-4 times. Right. You know, like when they're like. A hospital, what is it? And it's just like oh, it's a place where patients are. Like
that's
what is it? Yeah, it's so
my favorite.
And it happens so many times that every time you're like, God, they got me again.
It's so funny. And even small things like when he's painting in the infirmary and the guy's actually like,
oh, that's a wacky picture, and then it just goes even further to be like a real guy.
All right, boys, let's take some photos or whatever he says.
Yeah, and they just grab photographs off of the wall.
Oh man, that kills me.
So I watched this. This is my second time watching this, and I think there's like. The first time I watched it, I just wanted to, like, experience it. I heard it was really funny. I knew about Leslie Neilsen, and I just wanted to, like, let it happen, right? And there was parts that were like, oh, my God, this is kind of, like, a lot. But when I watched it again, like, I kind of noticed how so it came out in 1980, right? So they kind of just took every, like, movie trope that was happening, like, love story, like, disaster, like, things
wartime,
that happen, war stories. And they just made fun of every single piece of those, right? All of these huge movies are coming out in this time, and these guys are just slamming them left and right. I thought that was great.
Yeah, it feels like... I don't know, it's just... I don't know many other comedies from this time, so it's hard to compare it, but I feel like it was probably like one of the first of its kind from that. Like, it felt different. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could say anything to that, but like I wonder how many like in jokes that we missed just because we weren't from that time.
There was like
so many.
You could tell there were supposed to be jokes.
Like taking a dig at an actor or something. I'm like, I've never even heard of that guy.
Yeah.
They're probably huge.
Great topical things that we have no idea about.
Yeah, I'm sure in the time it was even better than it is. But the fact that like we all laughed a lot says something about that, you know?
Yeah.
The movie's what, like 40 years old almost?
Yeah, almost.
And it's still fucking hilarious. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, so how about we talk about... So, like, I don't know. There's probably not a lot of things to say about comedy movies, like, in overall, like, on a cast like this, because what can we say? Oh, that was funny. This was funny.
Right.
But, like, maybe we can get into talking about today's climate when it comes to like political correctness and comedy and stuff like that, and then what they did at the time. Are they doing? Do you like how shocking was it when people saw this movie for the first time? Do you think
in the 80s? I don't think.
Do you think it was shocking, or do you don't think it was as shocking?
Yeah, I think what comedy is, and like especially for like comedy and media, where if it's like a movie or if it's a stand-up comic. I think it's their job is kind of to push that boundary and to say like these are the things that are going on in the world right now, and like let's kind of play with where the line is drawn in the sand. And I don't know. I mean, maybe in the 80s like these were more topical things to like I don't know, be weird about or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I think talking about comedy as a whole, like I think you're right. It's almost always relevant to the current times in some way, right? It speaks about what's going on in the world, that kind of thing. And it has this unique way of, like, shedding light on things in a way that seems... It's not so, like, stern and, like, a bad thing. But it can still bring things up in a way that's, like, lighthearted and shit, but it's still, at the end of the day, it makes you think, like, oh, yeah, this is probably, like, a big disaster or something, right? Mm-hmm. So, I think going back to just what's cool about this movie is that 40 years later, there's still things that are funny and that are, like, kind of ridiculous. And, I mean, even though the times have changed a little bit, like, we really haven't changed that much in 40 years, right? Like, there's still things that come up in this movie that are relevant today, and I mean, it's kind of paved the way for some of the more, and I think there's a lot, there's like this branch of comedy in 2019 that came out where it's like, it's kind of like fart jokes and dick jokes and shit like that. And it's kind of like for people that don't really want to think about it and they just want to like laugh and not,
It's an escapism kind of,
right.
Yeah.
But this movie is not really that. It has elements of that though.
Yeah.
Like there is
Yeah.
pieces that are that way.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I don't know, it's different. Like you said, it's not. It's not like a fucking. I'm trying to think of just like a totally ridiculous comedy movie. Like, I guess kind of like that Good Boys movie we talked about last time. That Seth Rogen produced.
Oh, I didn't watch that.
A lot of the Seth Rogen stuff. The fucking one with all the food, sausage parties.
yeah,
That's kind of just a one big.
Yeah, or
joke,
Step Brothers. I mean, like great movies, but they're not trying to. In my opinion, they're not trying to like say like this is this overarching problem that society's running into right now. It's like we're just gonna make a funny movie, and it doesn't have to mean anything. Like I don't know. Maybe I could look into Step Brothers, and there's like some crazy shit.
Yeah, we could get as
If
deep
you
as
find
we
But
want.
anything.
high level overview,
Right.
or like The Hangover, movies like that. Where
So then, do you think that Airplane has a little bit more to say for comedy for its time, or not even?
I would say, I mean, like there's a lot of like religious things they show, like the nuns, and then they show the people giving the flowers out for $1 or whatever. And
Or people
there's a
sick
point
of that
where
shit.
the guy literally is just like judo people and fighting all of these religious.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't know, the 80s, what's going on, like Vietnam and
that's what's hard to say. So all of us.
We're not, none of us
we're
26 years old.
Yeah, we're
27.
kind of out of touch.
Yeah.
We
So
don't really
like-
know. We can't really definitively say. Like,
Right.
I don't know if anybody's up to like snuff on 80s history, but like.
Yeah, no.
Well, that's like when the whole Jesus freak thing started, like
Is that right?
late 70s, 80s, I think. Yeah.
Coming off of like the hippie era.
Yeah. So like these were like you had the hippies and then you had the Jesus freaks, I
They
think.
kind of
So
look similar. Like
so
in the movie,
like
the
it was
hippie
they were
movie
kind of
look
like
ish.
hippie Jesus people, you
Wasn't
know.
disco
So-
also big in like
Yeah,
78?
yeah, there was, like,
but
a
it was
lot
like
of-
a 3-year period or something.
Yeah.
Disco like came and
Yeah.
went.
There was a lot of
instantly.
subcultures
70s.
that were really freaking strong, like during those days.
Yeah.
And like,
huge. Like,
kind of,
huge
you could see that
things.
they were kind of poking at him, like, this is fucking annoying. These people are annoying. The Jesus freaks are annoying. The fucking disco people.
Yeah.
Everyone has to dance when fucking Saturday
Bee
night
Gees
or whatever
song.
the Bee Gees
Saturday
song
Night
comes
Fever,
on.
yeah.
You know, like, so they're like kind of annoyed about a little bit of all those like really strong subcultures, but
Right. I mean, it also got like, the pedophile jokes. Where
Yeah.
In 2019, those are like a lot, but I
Yeah,
think it's
you-
more because like so many things have come to light in these years, which
Yeah.
I'm sure have
Wait,
always
that
been
is
happening.
really bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, but it's also like this is also real and happening kind of a lot. Like
Yeah.
holy shit, we
Right,
need to like do
right.
something about that. But back
Have you
in
ever
the
been
day,
in a
like,
Turkish prison?
You ever seen a grown man naked? Like, and it, like,
that was
Holy
even I don't
shit,
even
it was ridiculous, and it kept
Yeah.
coming up later. That's so
and I
funny.
don't think you could do that today.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to get away
well,
with
so
it.
I think like there's got to be some time that passes for like okay, for example, the whole pedophile thing now is Jeffrey Epstein. How he had the sex. What is it? The
Dungeon.
sex man or no the
Island.
sex,
Sex
island, whatever.
Island, yeah.
And so I feel like now it's like okay, pedophile shit's really weird because it's happening right now.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, not to say like pedophilia is funny, right? It's like terrible and disgusting, but it's like there's this one stand-up comic like he was getting criticized because he made a quote unquote racist joke, and he's like, so you think racism is funny? And he's like, sometimes, like if you make a funny joke about what that is, it doesn't mean that you're for it. It doesn't mean that anything about it. It's like
Right.
let's shed a light on something that's happening in society and look at it in
Exactly.
a different way.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, because just not talking about it isn't doing anything either.
Right, and how else are you going to talk about something like pedophilia?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
You're not going to sit in a room and be like, so pedophilia is a big problem. Like, we need to do something. Like, it just doesn't get to people the same way.
Right. Yeah.
Seth Meyers has a great bit in his new stand-up about the word pedophile. Like, you guys really need to watch that stand-up. It's funny as fuck.
The IT crowd, Pedophile.
Oh,
That guy's
pedophile!
name.
Yeah, because people in England say pedophile, and there's this guy named Peter File.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's just
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's so good. IT crowd has a lot of like the humor. like reminded me of like very British humor where it's just like where he took the glasses off and he has another pair of sunglasses on.
Yeah.
That's something similar like that happens in the IT Crowd too. And so there's like remnants of that for
I
sure.
think it serves as a big like reference or source of inspiration for a lot of these
Yeah,
comedians or like comedic things.
You were saying that you noticed there was a lot of similarities between this movie and Family Guy. I'm not a big Family Guy. But does that cheapen what's his name? Who's the guy
Seth
who made
MacFarlane?
Family? Does that cheapen Seth MacFarlane's humor, or
Well, no,
or is he
no.
just
Same humor.
paying homage? No,
It's
like
the same
he's,
humor as this, I think.
Yeah,
'Cause it's
yeah.
just
But-
No.
They
but when
use
you
the
see
same
it
exact jokes.
when you
It's
use the
this-
same
Well, yeah,
exact
I'm
joke,
saying
is it
he-
cheap or is
They're
it like,
referencing
No.
other stuff in a
Yeah.
funny way, and he's just referencing
Oh,
this.
okay.
Yeah, he's
yeah.
not tilting his hat. He's saying like
Yeah.
it's almost a direct thing. Like we were inspired by you, so we're gonna show something.
And this is all parodied too, is what?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you know, like where
He's totally doing it because he loves this shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where they're like shaking that girl who's freaking out on the airplane. And it's like, you're wanted on the phone, and I'll take over. And then they take over, and there's like a people lined up behind them. They do that exact same thing in Family Guy, amongst other things. Like, there's just a lot of references, and it's just paying their respects to what this movie, I guess, did to
Yeah.
comedy.
Yeah, some of the jokes, they're just too good. They're the fact that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is like actually
Dude.
in it, and then they just like call him out and shit. That was great.
so
That's
Oh,
so
God.
It's like
Yeah.
breaking the the fourth
Fourth
wall.
wall.
Fourth wall,
Yeah.
So
And then when they pull him out, he has his basketball glasses, and he's in his basketball shorts. He's like, I'm busting my buns every day.
You try to carry that whatever his name is across the court for 48
Yeah.
minutes.
I feel like there was like a lot of truth in the things he said when he did talk about him playing basketball. It was just like his way of telling the people like,
Yeah.
I
am
know all
trying.
y'all out there talking
Yeah,
shit.
yeah,
like,
you guys need to
tell
lay
your dad to
off.
go
Yeah.
fuck himself. You know, shit like that.
They said the same
Yeah.
thing about me when I was in UCLA. Like,
Yeah. This is so funny.
isn't he like not really an actor? I mean, he's a basketball player first, right?
Yeah,
But, like,
I don't know. I don't know.
Did
Has
he
he
do
done
anything else
anything
before
else?
I
that?
haven't heard of anything else that he's
Yeah.
done. Just be really, really good
It's
at
like, let's just
basketball.
I feel like
Throw
that
this
was just
basketball
the
player in a
joke.
movie.
They were just like, we're gonna make a joke about you being in this, but you're gonna pretend like you're acting or something. They just asked him for that. I feel like.
Yeah.
Oh, there is a sequel to this movie.
Airplane
too.
2.
Yeah.
I've
The
never
sequel.
seen
Science
it, and
fiction.
2 years later.
I know I've heard that it's not as good, and like the writers and directors chose not to be involved, so I'm sure there's like a disconnect.
Never even seen it.
Yeah, there's no need. This is no need for a sequel to something like this.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because like I mean this in the most positive way possible. There wasn't much of a story to really tell. It was just like,
Right.
just like, let's just throw a bunch of people on an airplane and it's just a comedy shit show the whole time, and it's but it worked.
And it's a funny place to like have like such
Right.
a thing happen because you're just in this closed area.
Yeah, and it's a very
It's just-
professional setting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much.
I was gonna bring up Hot Shots, and I didn't realize that Jim Abrahams apparently did Hot Shots and Hot Shots 2, both of which are fucking hilarious, but they're all in the same vein of comedy. Like, it's
Yeah.
parody.
Scary
it's
Movie
just
3 and
ridiculous.
Scary Movie 4 by Dave Zucker. That's kind of very similar style of
Right.
comedy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, for
Very.
sure.
They use a lot of pop culture references in their
Mhm.
comedy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a great recurring joke in I forget which Hot Shots it is, one or two, where every time a character like sits down, like whether it's like in an airplane or in an office or whatever, they always sit on a little dog and it like yelps, so it's like, oh, and they pick it up and they pet it and they let it down. Every fucking time it happens, and it happens just spaced enough to where you forget that it
You forget that, yeah.
and then it happens again and you're like, oh my god.
That's how a lot of the jokes were in this, where
Right.
like the whole like, oh, what's a hospital? Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
The
just
old
forget it and then it
the
comes
old
back.
switcheroo.
Yeah.
And that comedy like still holds today. Like, I don't know, you ever go on Reddit and you read the comments and somebody asks a question and then they answer it literally, like
Right.
what
Yeah.
is being answered, and then they're like, oh, the old Reddit switcheroo is what they call
Right,
it.
yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of comedy like just lasts
Yeah.
like through,
Yeah, like
through
just
time.
plays on words
Yeah.
and puns and stuff. Like
Yeah.
Futurama does so many jokes just like off of stuff like that. Like do something like totally literally. You're not thinking about it, and then like it just happens on the screen, and it's just hilarious
Yeah.
every
Oh my
time.
gosh.
It's so interesting because there's a conversation to be had about like what is comedy, and like now that we're kind of going into like creating AI and everything and like making computer learning, it's like, can we teach them to be funny? And like we can kind of say like, hey, like this is like we could teach a robot to tell a joke if you just type what the but to actually have a sense of humor. And it's like, if you were to just describe to somebody who's never been told a joke or never laughed, for whatever reason, what is comedy, what is funny, it's like kind of hard to do. And I think one of the closest things I heard was comedy is, in some senses, it's a break in a pattern. It's like when you're seeing a pattern and you're like letting on to believe what's going to be happening, and then that's the punchline, is that break in that pattern. It takes you this completely different direction that you didn't know where you were going to go.
Oh, that's
and like that's kind of funny. Like that's what's funny about things. But it's so much more complex than that. But like high level overview, I think that kind of hits it a little bit.
Yeah, well, like those AI things that read all those scripts. We could have
real.
What?
They're not real.
That's not real. Oh, it's not. I thought that was real. I was like, like what?
They make their own.
But bots writing things.
The bots writing thing. That's
Just
not real. I thought it was.
They don't read scripts into it. Like,
but you like compile it and then they just like put shit together, right?
It's like they're not being funny, but we're laughing at them. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Those are so funny.
Yeah.
I fucking love
but
that shit.
But that's like, what do you mean as it's not real? Like it puts out what's being written, right?
So usually when someone says we made this bot watch a bunch of Office episodes, like that's not.
Oh, it's not. That's
and
not,
told it to write.
They wrote that basically.
They wrote that. Oh, I thought that was like a real thing. I was like, that's fucked up.
I wish. It would make it so much.
I was
better.
like, that's kind of like crazy. That's what I thought. Maybe I'm just too stupid. I was like, we're gonna make a bot watch a bunch of Dane Cook, and it's gonna make a lot of bad comedy.
Damn, that's Dane Cook.
Heard that name in a long fucking time.
Yeah, you want to talk about bad fucking dick joke comedy and talk about that guy.
Yeah.
You know what though? I Dane Cook is ridiculous, and now that I'm older, I'm like, really? But when I was like a freshman in high school, I was like, this is the best This is the funniest
guy.
he's
He's
ever
the guy
lived.
to watch. That's like the last time I watched him, and then I was like, this guy is garbage.
But there's some comedy that like, I don't know, like SNL or something, where like it just, you could still watch stuff from that time, where it's still hilarious today. But if I watch Dane Cook, or if I try to sit and listen to like a Dane Cook bit, I'm just like, this is so fucking stupid.
Right.
You know? It's just how we mature, I guess. And there's music like that. Like there's music where like I listen to freaking this John. I'm not gonna say. I listened to this artist back then. Like, what the fuck was I thinking?
You're not gonna show your hand on that.
No.
We'll hate on Dane Cook, but we're not gonna hate on.
He still listens to you.
I thought you were gonna say it there.
Mine was Aaron Carter, which if you like look at
the Mickey Mouse.
check out the
House
state
Club.
of Aaron Carter these days. It's like pretty rough. He's got like a
What is he
handful
up to?
of Twitter followers and like face tattoos.
He's
and
like
shit.
on heroin and stuff,
Yeah,
or some
he's
crazy
not in great
shit.
shape these
Or
days.
he looks like that.
He looks like that.
At
yeah.
least he peaked. I mean, this is probably our peak. So I guess he's like, yeah, really. At least I have money to buy heroin, assholes.
Right.
I think there is something more to say about the comedic kind of timing we were talking about in some ways. Like, can you teach that, or could a robot, like an AI, potentially learn that? I think with this movie, what we saw was there was like comedic timing in like the immediate sense, but the recurring jokes, right? That's a different kind of timing. Like, how do you decide when it's time to put something back in? Like right when it fades from your forefront.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
shit, at the
To
end there,
kick you
they
right
did
in
it.
the ass
They
again.
did it like fucking 3 times. When
Oh,
he's
where
like, I just want to wish you luck.
let you know. Good luck. We're all counting on you.
Because so many things are happening, and you're just like,
You're like, how is he like just chilling? Like he's not all fucking wobbling everywhere. He's just like
That face. You know he's gonna say that, but it's still just hilarious.
and that's why I love
deadpan,
that guy.
dude. It's so good.
I think he's actually dead now.
Oh no!
I think it was
Yeah.
recent. He was like 90 or something.
Yeah.
Well, he was.
He looks older than that.
He didn't die that long ago. Can you
Yeah.
call him up? Leslie Neilsen.
Yeah,
2010.
Oh, it's been 9 years.
84.
Wow. 84.
84?
That's a full ass life.
Yeah.
He made
so-
a bunch of great shit, so can't go wrong there.
Portraying more than 220 characters. Wow.
220 characters.
He's a Canadian, eh?
It's like But just from the things that I've seen him in, he kind of plays the same person all the time.
Yeah.
The character plays
Pretty much.
Which is so funny because it's like when you think of the word character, you think of something kind of like animated or like he's just so I don't know how to even describe. He's just so like kind of rigid or like just like you would just see a doctor and like they would talk to you this way like yes, this is the procedure that we're going to be doing. But it's like I was saying in the beginning, it's like he delivers these one-liners that if you wrote it down, like it's not funny.
Yeah.
But just looking at and the way he's saying it isn't that funny either. It's just like his whole being of himself, just like I'm a doctor. Like how is that funny? It's so weird how it's
and that thing with
the stethoscope,
stethoscope.
Sure.
That reminds me of there's a doctor that I follow on Instagram. And he says, I fucking hate because he's an MMA. He does MMA fights and like he's like the doctor that checks people when they get all fucked up.
He's the doctor that stopped the Nate Diaz fight.
Yeah. No, he's not. He's not. And he's just like, I fucking hate. He was the reason why he said he hated people who wear stethoscopes when there's actually no.
When are you going to be checking somebody's heart?
Yeah. There's literally no need for you to be wearing those. Like at that time and place, and that doctor who stopped the Nate Diaz fight was wearing that. He's a fucking clown. He was so pissed. And so like that kind of, I wonder if like they know that like this, like that's like a joke. Like people who are wearing those,
it's the same thing.
That's just like a joke. Like come on, you don't have to be wearing that if you're a doctor.
It's just like when you have a lab coat, like when you're selling some kind of, or when you see an advertisement for some crazy cannabis thing online and there's just a guy in a lab coat like pouring things into a beaker. It's just like this guy's got a lab coat. I don't know.
Doctor approved.
It's like this guy's
those
and it says like paid actor below.
Those commercials that are like, are you suffering from alcoholism? Call the addiction hotline. And it's just some guy in a lab coat. And it's just like, what the fuck? Why? That's just funny.
Yeah, he does. Man. If you want to tie it all together, I think he's got a bit of shine in him.
Man.
Yeah, well, I mean, they say here, like, his career started just doing dramatic roles. I think back in the day, like, that's really all you had besides, like, I don't know. I don't know any of the comedians back in those days, but, like, a lot of, like...
long time ago.
Yeah, a lot of those just super serious, dramatic shows.
Yeah.
Westerns and shit like
Which,
that.
like, you know what's funny is because today we can look back at those movies from the 60s and 70s and, like, see how hilarious they are. Like, how bad, like, the acting is and all of that. And this movie came out in 1980 and it still saw that in its present time. It's like, yeah, we realize that everything that's happening around us in pop culture is ridiculous and easy to make fun of, too.
Right.
So it's kind of ahead of its time in that sense, where it's...
Yeah,
I mean, I guess, is there an equivalent to Airplane in today's time? Like, has there been
Scary Movie, when you guys said that
like, Scary Movie was late 90s, early 2000s.
But that was like early 2000s.
Yeah. The same directors or same writers too, so it's like they're thinking of today's day and age, and like I don't know, are we due for like one of these something really else?
I feel like it wouldn't do good, dude. Unless it had like really big actors in it.
You think so?
Like no one would want to watch it.
Well, then they need to do something like that. So like this says airport or wait, there were comedies based on building around dramatic actors. Yeah. What if they did something like that like in today's age with fucking Leo and all those other people? Like, what if they did some crazy deadpan shit like that?
Do we have the audience for that in today's world?
I think people are like I think they want the release of it.
Because how fast the jokes
Do you
come?
want the release of it? Would you go see a movie and you want to see some people talking about jive and all this pedophilia, like that crazy shit nobody wants to talk about?
I'm not going to say
is it gonna be?
Go see some pedophilia, but I do want to go see something.
Do you want to see some pedophilia?
I want to see something.
We're recording. You know this is live, right? Don't be saying that.
Pedophilia is not a bad word.
I don't want to say that.
Kicked out the damn door.
I mean, okay.
No, I don't think it's the substance of the jokes like that. I'm just saying, or I think you're saying like the parody, like parody.
No, okay. What about Edgar Wright?
Satire.
Like, what about like Shaun of
Yeah.
the Dead, where it's like there's just these zingers, and it's like you've got red on you. Like, it's just I don't know. I feel like that's kind
Those
of
movies are
Kind
like
of.
50. How old are they? They're
They're
old,
not
aren't
really
they?
making fun
9
of the
years
current
old,
times.
No, well, I don't know about zombie movies. Like,
Yeah,
they're taking it
okay,
in a
because there was a
lighter-
big zombie thing, and I guess,
I
yeah.
don't know. I think it's still there. Maybe not. It's just how are we looking at this and how are we measuring this? You know.
I just think that in today's like world, too many people are all about the like Dwayne the Rock Johnson and whatever.
Put
the
him in
fuck
it,
else.
dude.
Yeah,
It would
but then
work.
I don't think if they went to go see it, I don't think they would get it. I think it would all the jokes.
No, I
would
think
fall
they would just be
flat.
like, cool, there's a joke every 5 seconds. This is
But I don't think
entertaining.
they
I don't
would-
have to get
There's
bored
just
and look at my
memes.
phone or
There's
They
something.
would get
memes.
the jokes. I don't think they would understand that
Oh,
the
you mean
jokes
just,
are
like,
about them.
The subtle visual things and like just all the different
I
things. or
just
what?
even the whole entire concept, like this movie, is it like makes fun of Saturday Night Fever, makes fun of all these ridiculous, disaster tropes, love story tropes, all that shit
Right.
that people loved, that were huge, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think in that time, I think people were able to like go and see Airplane and be like, oh, that is funny. Like this is kind of a ridiculous thing.
Mhm.
In 2019, I think we're more on the idiocracy side. Where people would go see it and be like, what? Huh?
Mm.
and they
like
go
I
act
think
it
so.
out themselves or something.
They just wouldn't understand that it's
Yeah.
a parody of our life in the current time. They'd just be like, oh, funny.
Like, what would they do? They would do, like, Old Town Road or whatever
I
the
don't
hell
know.
in the
That's the
show.
thing.
Yeah,
And then
I
would
don't
it be,
know.
like, cringy? Would it be weird?
we
or
making
would
this
it be
movie, guys?
funny?
Are we doing it?
turn off the stream. Steal our idea.
Let's get to work.
What does
I
that
don't know
mean
about that. I don't
in
know about that.
2019? It's like,
Well, okay,
well,
there's
the only
something.
movies coming out are sequels and remakes and prequels
Right.
and all that shit, right?
Just make a
Yeah,
movie
like- oh,
called
you know what?
something 12 or something. I don't
We
know,
could
make fun of that.
we can re-release Keeping Up with the Kardashians, like
I don't
because
even
it's
wanna be
a
part
it's a
of that.
remake, and it also Keeping Up with the Kardashians is something that's hilarious. That is that still show going? Is that show still going
I
on?
don't know. I'm
sure.
sure. I think we're, like, the wrong
Probably.
people to ask. Any
But it's-
Jersey
But that's
Shore.
what I'm saying.
That's
If
the
you-
whole thing. Where
Look
it
at
was
how many
wildly
people watch that
popular.
show.
Wildly
A
popular.
lot of
Yeah.
fucking people watch that show, and they would like.
They
seriously-
like, I don't know, they like the
Yeah.
drama. They like to think that, well, at least
don't
my
know.
life's not that fucking weird. Like,
Do you think that's
know?
what they think when
I
watching
mean,
it, though?
no, I don't know. They
Or I
just,
wish it was
well,
that
I think you
crazy.
get both perspectives.
way.
Like, you get the really fucking obsessive people that really care about those people's lives, and then
feel
you
like
have the
they're
people.
part of their lives. and
Ah,
shit?
yeah, maybe.
Oh,
like, yeah, I need
It's
to
like
literally
how-
keep
that's
up
just
with
Twitch
them.
for us.
Yeah. There's like some Twitch drama and shit like that. You get all whatever.
Yeah, but there's a
We're not good there.
potential
And then
to
there's people.
communicate
But then there's
with
people who are
Twitch.
just laughing at like the crazy ass shit that it is obviously fake, right? Like most of it's
Yeah.
fabricated.
It's scripted, dude. It's a
Scripts,
Twitch,
I think-
yeah.
Twitch word.
Yeah.
I think what happens is I think people maybe start watching it ironically, and then they're just like, "All right, well, I'm gonna tune in next week." Because
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Maybe
the
I
way
just-
we say like any
Yeah.
terms we say today, like lit or like anything that we
so many
anything
times
that we say.
or ironically until you just
Yeah,
get
I
used
remember
to it.
one time we were in Arizona. We were going to see a concert, and we were in an Uber, and like we were talking about like, oh yeah, we're from Albuquerque, and he was saying like, oh yeah, like I've heard this particular place is really cool. I was like, oh yeah, at night like that place gets pretty cool. Like I was like, I just stopped myself from saying lit. I was like, God, I'm talking to like a real person. I can't be like an idiot saying like, yeah,
It's
like,
pretty
you know.
cool.
Yeah, I was like,
pretty
it's nice.
You should have said it's all bad, no?
Yeah, like that place is lit, and like that's what I would have told you guys.
or
But
Right. But
Oh,
then,
man.
but people do talk like that for real.
no, I know, but
Right.
but I almost did that on accident. Like I had
Yeah.
to literally stop myself, and
Exactly.
I don't know.
And I think that's the difference. And maybe I just don't have enough faith in the human race as a whole. But
So, long story short, this kind of movie just wouldn't stack up today.
if it was
It
made
just
with the
wouldn't stack
same,
up. What if
like-
they make a Scary Movie 9, whatever number they're at?
See, so what would they talk about?
They would
the
make
scary
fun of
movies
found
that came out this
footage.
year were fucking
Because even the
remakes.
last few scary movies were just like, it was like, like, even when they were talking about topical stuff like was happening like during that time, it just was
Jordan
like,
Peele movies or something.
like no, it was like, I don't know, just like talking about like popular music and shit like that.
Oh yeah,
It was
see,
like,
if it's
it's just
too,
like cringy, and it's just like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like,
if
it's
it's
just like,
too like
nobody
topical, it
fucking
doesn't
really
work.
cares.
yeah, like when there's memes
those-
in movies, like Black Panther had like a "What are those?"
What are
joke,
those?
and it's like,
Yeah,
That
and
I
stuff
know.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's
But like
Movies
this,
and
that's what I was
movies.
gonna go back to. Is Airplane almost doesn't do any of that. That's why it's still funny now because it's
no,
not.
it does some of it. Like we were
That's
saying,
what I'm saying,
where-
almost
yeah,
done.
yeah. I guess
Still
you could
does
throw
some.
that in there, and then
It is like when I told you guys that I was listening to that Stephen King audiobook and
cocaine.
Elevation. That's the name of the book.
Writing on cocaine.
And it's like a newer book of his, right? And so like the version that I listened to was read by him, and he's like talking about like apps and smartphones, and for some reason I was like, I don't like this, and I
Yeah,
know that it's
hearing
like
that
part
from
of
him.
life and like everyday.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's probably gonna change soon. So it's gonna be
Exactly.
weird, right?
We know that it's not concrete. It's not here to stay. It's
Yeah.
all gonna change.
Yeah.
But to hear it, I'm
Yep.
just like, ugh, I don't want to hear about apps in this fucking book, right?
Oh, okay.
And I feel like, yeah, how would you, like, it's the same thing with memes and movies. Fast forward 40 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back and watch this movie that's 40 years old. 40 years from now, and they say a meme, like, people are gonna be like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, they're not gonna last. Memes change so fucking quick.
Yeah.
Day to
Yeah.
day.
month
faster than
month to
else.
month. Yeah, like there's a new hit meme every month.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So putting them in movies is a bad call, I think.
Oh yeah, I agree completely. I don't know, man. Are memes gonna
The
fade?
Spider-Man one was pretty good. The
What
end
was the
credits of
Spider-Man?
Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
But it's like almost wasn't like directly a meme because it was from the show.
End credits of Spider-Verse. Spoiler alert. What was it? I don't remember.
It was
the meme with the pointing.
2099. He
Oh
goes
yeah,
back to the
yeah,
old
yeah,
cartoon.
He goes to the
Wait,
old
what?
school Spider-Man. The Spider-Man pointing at
Oh
Spider-Man.
right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
I thought that was
I
good.
mean, yeah.
That's like one exception.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
like-
it's in the same realm.
Yeah.
Say that you were an older viewer that might not have seen that meme, and then you saw that, and you'd probably be like, what the fuck does that mean?
Like, oh,
Yeah,
there's
But
an
it,
old
but,
show.
but maybe,
that's
it,
funny.
maybe it
Really,
could just
I
be
don't
not for them. You know,
Sure.
maybe that's something to say. Like, you know what, we're gonna, because people are gonna watch this movie today.
Yeah.
It's for the people today. The people of tomorrow, like, we're still going to make a good movie.
Sure.
They don't have to get everything. We didn't get everything in Airplane.
Yeah.
Right.
You
Of
know,
course,
we
of
got
course.
we didn't get a lot of the actor references and stuff that they did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we still enjoyed it,
Yeah.
Which is
hard
hard
okay.
to
But
say
but if you
for
make a movie
40
entirely where
movie.
your whole basis, like the fucking Emoji Movie,
Right.
Oh, God.
Exactly.
I haven't even seen. I'm not even gonna. But like, is
Who
that
was in
movie
the
gonna?
Emoji so T.J. Miller was in the Emoji
T.J.
Movie,
Miller,
and we all
yeah.
know the shit show that he is.
Dude,
gotten with
I
his
don't
life.
even know where to begin about that movie.
Who
It's so
else is in the
crazy.
Emoji Movie? Did their
Fucking-
lives turn out similarly?
What's his name?
I don't know. Jacqueline liked it.
I've
Did you really?
I've never seen it, and I've never.
I feel
Jacqueline
like
James
you
is
would
one.
like
I'm never
it.
gonna see it. Mark
I haven't
your
seen
words.
it. Maybe I would love it.
Why? Sorry. What were you saying?
I just have never seen the movie. I'm never going to.
Yeah, I know. Me neither.
Yeah.
Saying that here.
Freaking
Now.
Charles
Never
Xavier
going
and
to.
Picard and
Oh, yeah.
He's in that.
what's his name? I cannot think of the last name. Patrick Stewart.
Patrick
Yeah,
Stewart.
he's in that movie.
Patrick Stewart.
He plays the poop emoji.
What?
I think.
Okay.
Did you
How
do
the
that to
mighty
Patrick
had
Stewart?
fallen.
How the mighty have fallen.
Shit, I would take that check too. You know you would.
Oh, yeah.
Man,
You read the script and you're just like, well, I'm shit.
This is a good
Go to
thing
work in
talk
your
about.
pajamas and just talk.
I would be the herpes
Fuck yeah.
sword
Take the
zucchini
paycheck
emoji.
every once in a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a good thing to talk about. We were reading about how Leslie Nielsen kind of got his start in these really low-paid roles where there wasn't really gold in Hollywood yet.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, these high-profile actors are just taking that big-ass check to do the Emoji Movie. Are you fucking
Yeah,
kidding
yeah.
me? The Emoji Movie?
Yeah.
Dude, every once in a while you gotta do it.
Yeah.
Do you, though?
You gotta
You're
set up
telling
your,
me that you've
you gotta set up
never...
your kids. You know.
You
Yeah.
haven't made
Dude.
enough off of the other million things that are great that you've done.
I mean, true.
And if they're hitting you up, dude. Okay, look at
He could have
Nicolas
phoned
Cage
it in
with
for all we
Mandy.
know.
Mandy was great though.
Mandy was
I
sick
loved
as
that,
fuck.
but it was like so low budget. Have you seen Mandy?
No, I don't. Have you? No, I haven't seen it. Mandy.
Ridiculously, but like I've heard that Nick Cage just does that shit. He just like
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, what, low budget movie? Like, let's fucking
Yeah,
run
he'll
it.
do his
Yeah.
big money bullshit movies, and then he'll do all these weird fucking
And
indie
like
movies.
there's all like Mandy
Well, yeah,
was fucking
but-
cool.
No,
Well,
yeah.
what about The
He's not out there
Rock?
doing
Like
the
the
Emoji Movie.
The
He's
Rock-
doing some weird religious shit though. Have you seen those?
No.
I haven't seen them, but I've seen things about them.
But
who?
Mandy was
Nicolas
sick.
Cage.
Nicolas Cage doing some religious stuff.
Jake Gyllenhaal does that too. He does a lot of weird. Dude, he does the play.
Prince of Persia.
The one-man play. It's supposed to be really good.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
That
it's
sounds
just
cool.
him, and it's like a monologue about losing your father or something crazy like that.
Oh,
It's supposed to be
jeez,
really
yeah.
good. But he does shit like that. He did Velvet Buzzsaw, which is fucking crazy. That Netflix movie about
A lot of
art
actors do
kills
that.
people.
Dakota Johnson was just in a movie. I think it's called it's like a Hulu original or something. It's called Wound. And she's just like randomly in it. She's like the main character's girlfriend, and the movie was like, it was cool leading up, and then it was just kind of terrible. But yeah, like actors just do
Peanut
that.
Butter
I don't know.
Falcon.
Peanut Butter Falcon is so
Wasn't that
good.
like a great like
It's good.
That was in theaters though and shit, right?
Yeah, we watched
Limited. Pretty
Yeah.
limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what were you saying about The Rock, James?
Oh, The Rock. I mean, he just gets like really shitty roles, but gets paid millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, it's the
like,
highest paid actor.
that's what's fucking weird is that
But the thing about
he
those
literally
movies is,
takes
like-
every single role, and like none of those movies are good. Like
God.
really.
I don't know if he just like takes
Right?
those roles or like I think he's going out and getting them.
No, he
Like,
chooses his roles.
He's
for
going
sure.
for those. Like he's not just like I guess I'll do this movie.
Like-
I
Oh,
think
yeah,
he
he-
wants to do that shit. Like that's
I
just
mean,
who he
well,
is.
yeah. I mean, if he's gonna get fucking big bucks and people
See,
are
like,
like,
someone
well,
like
he's
he also
good.
wants to do them to make movies that his kids can watch. You know what I mean? Like he's
Yeah,
not just trying to do all
yeah.
kinds of crazy
Yeah, but
shit.
okay, he was also a wrestler. Like he ain't fucking
That's also acting.
winning any awards here. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
not like
Yeah, well,
It's
he's
one way to
winning the
get started in
WWE
acting, bro.
Championship.
I
That's an
guess,
award.
but it's not.
One
He
way.
ain't like. it's no
it's-
fucking Goodwill Hunting kind of shit. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it's a
They're
mediocrity
just different.
bullshit.
Yeah, they're just different. Because like you, okay, I hate to say this, but if I see that The Rock is in a movie, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, I don't have to take this movie seriously at all,
Exactly.
or even watch it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and that's kind of the thing. But like, for example, if who's another actor that would be like, oh shit, what he just won a Academy Award for. What's that movie called where he's like fights a bear? Fuck, why can't I think of his name?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio. I couldn't think of his name. But like when he's in a movie, you're like, oh fuck, like
Yeah.
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 fuck, we need to
He
watch this
chooses
movie.
his
It's
roles
fucking
in a
Yeah.
very
crazy.
different
Yeah.
way.
You know, like,
You
but
know
he's
you're
in a
not-
lot of shit too, and like,
So you want The Rock to take that serious
no,
role
to
to sway you
different-
over.
they're different. No,
He's worth the money.
I don't
I
think.
want to know if he even could.
What if
in
there was
that series.
Oh no, I don't think
a
so.
co-starring The Rock and Leo movie? Would you watch it? What would you do? Would you be
I would.
conflicted?
I'd kill myself.
Can't
That's the
handle
only way
this.
that I wouldn't be able to handle it.
I
No.
don't think he could do it. I don't think he could do it. But if he did try, I would watch out of pure curiosity.
Have you
Just
You
to
know who
see-
did that is Arnold Schwarzenegger. A movie. What is it called? It's like a
The
girl's
Terminator?
name. No.
Is it bad?
The Terminator 2?
It's a girl's name. I can't remember. Basically, the premise of the movie is his spoiler alert. His daughter was bit by a vampire, and she turns into.
Twilight?
Wait, hold on.
Just
I want to
look
watch
right
this. Don't tell me.
It's
I'm just
like
kidding,
the
go
whole
for it.
premise.
I'm just
She was bit by a zombie, and
Wait,
like,
is it a
takes-
vampire or a zombie?
I said vampire. It's a zombie. She's bit by a zombie, and it
It's
takes
already
you
bad.
like weeks to fully turn. And like he
Oh,
was trying to
no.
play a serious role because it was like his daughter that was bit, and like half the movie is just him looking longingly into the distance, but he's just like he's Arnold. He's Arnold. Like he does. It doesn't work.
Well, that's
But
a good
he wanted to make this movie to be like I can act, and it's like
Tony acts.
you don't have like a machine gun. It's not
Yeah,
working.
Dude, I love him.
Well, like
No,
what
he's
about,
great.
like-
Arnold is so great, but that's not who he is.
Well, some
he's not that.
actors are really bad about pigeonholing themselves into those roles,
Yeah.
right?
Are you talking about the God of Thunder?
Sure,
Yeah.
if you want to say
Well,
that. I
yeah.
thought you did pretty
No,
Or
well.
like,
in
what
it.
No.
about Bryan Cranston? I've never seen
Godzilla?
What? I've never seen that either. But
He's not
Why?
very much in it.
Breaking
like
Bad,
yeah,
or-
Breaking Bad versus
Malcolm in the
Malcolm in
Middle.
the Middle.
Yeah.
You know, like
Oh, I forgot.
how could
Different
it be like
extremes.
Well, no.
two
See,
totally
and some
different
actors can do
things.
that. Like some actors can do that, but I just don't. I
I
mean,
feel like that's Robert Pattinson right now. He broke out of his fucking pigeonhole.
Dude,
Yeah.
which is
weird shit.
crazy. I guess
He's amazing, dude.
like and even like what's his name, Harry Potter.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, Danny Radcliffe has been doing more movies than any of those other fools.
yeah.
or
Like, have you seen the movie where like he plays like some I don't know Irish person who goes on like a crazy trip to South America? It's on Netflix, but like he's got pretty good like acting chops. Like he's really good. Like
Good Will Hunting with Robin Williams. Like he will fucking make you cry in that movie. Like,
yeah,
and it's just completely opposite of what his movies are. So wacky and
right.
I don't know. Some actors have that in them, and I think Steve Carell, he's kind of going for more.
Yeah, it's really hard
For
for me to
more
buy that
songs.
guy, though.
To what?
It's hard for me to buy him and other stuff, personally.
Because of The Office, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because he was kind of like the 40-year-old virgin, The Office, and then Anchorman, kind of like. And then what was that other one? Evan Almighty. He was in
Yeah.
that too,
Yeah, I
think.
didn't see that.
Yeah, that was okay. But yeah, he's like more recently he's gotten into like more serious roles. Like what's that one about that town? It's based on a true story where like this
Oh, man.
person
He makes those things. Or
Yeah.
Yeah, he makes dolls and stuff. It was based on it.
Marwin.
It was actually
Mrs.
really good.
Marwin or something.
Yeah, it's like Marvel or something.
I heard it wasn't that good of a movie.
I liked it.
I heard the
I saw it
guy
on
in real life was a really bad person.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah.
He was like.
I don't know anything.
Okay, you know what? You're.
We're saying about things we heard, bro.
I don't know. It was okay. And then he's in a
I
show
thought he
now
was
on
a
Apple TV.
pedophile.
He's in a show on Apple TV, and like it seems like his character's very serious. So.
Apple TV making shows. Weird time.
Uh,
But
Yeah.
let's talk about this. You're talking about characters as like animated, thinking about them as animated
Sure.
things, right?
Yeah.
This is where I think a real actor, like I'm gonna say this, a person who can act in almost any role can take the idea of a character and like embody it fully, right?
Like
That's
method.
what we saw with Robert Pattinson in The Lighthouse versus him and fucking Edward, whatever that shit's called,
Twilight.
This is what we saw with, Willem Dafoe in The Lighthouse, in Spider-Man, in anything he's in. He's just he's kind of plays the same guy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that
He's
different.
got that face just all the time. Yeah.
But it's still like good. You're just
Yeah,
like, yeah,
sure.
You still don't
good.
think that, or you don't like remember that he is Willem Dafoe. He's still
Right.
the character.
He's a character.
Yeah.
He is this person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you watch movies,
Gee.
sorry, I'm just sitting beside the table. When
Fucking
you see The Rock
earthquake.
in a fucking, he is a character. The Rock, he's the fucking
Oh,
Rock.
yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
He just plays the Rock. And
He just
everything.
plays The Rock. in
That's what's
everything
crazy,
he's
like
in.
about like Vin Diesel and shit. Like, it's just those bald people. Like, they just
Bald
can't
buff
help
guys.
but
Well,
be
man.
bald, buff, and like
Yeah.
deep
You
ass
can't
voices. They can't help it. It's like in the beginning
Jason
of one of the
Statham.
Riddick movies, I think Vin Diesel has like a long wig or some shit.
Oh,
and then I was like, this is
Oh,
fucking
no.
terrible.
Oh,
and then
no.
like they like cut his hair off or some shit, and he's just bald. And I'm like, okay, good.
Like, thank
I'll just
you.
just let him be big, bald, and buff.
James
Like,
walks back into the theater. He's like, all right.
They have
Like,
ushers
it's
standing in
weird.
the hallway
It's
like, no,
weird.
he cuts the
Yeah,
hair.
it's done.
yeah, just go
Don't
back.
leave just
you're,
yet.
you're fine. You're fine.
He's bald again. Go
I
back.
wonder how they feel about that. There's some just fucking big, buff and bald. Like, gotta be
that's-
beefy again.
That's the thing too. I mean, to go, like, why are we talking about The Rock so fucking much? But to go back, to
working, dude.
he's
It's
getting that fucking check. Like he's just like, I don't
Oh, yeah,
fucking
he's
care if
getting
I'm
that
pigeonholed
check.
into this
Of course.
movie. They're gonna make 10 more. These movies are so easy to make.
Yeah.
You know, like
That's why I think that a movie that makes fun of all these movies that are easy to
Yeah.
make, that blow up in the blockbusters, even if they're rated bad by critics,
Mhm.
people will go and watch
Yeah,
them.
okay.
going
Well, and then I
money,
want
never
like we're like dogging on The Rock right now, but like I've heard that he's like the freaking like go getter. Like he is
oh, he's
first
hustles,
on
guy.
set, last to leave. Like he's
Kobe
he,
Bryant.
he
yeah.
gets in people's face like you're not fucking doing enough for this shit, and like I'm over here
Yeah.
doing everything. So like I don't know. That's
But
the
I'd
rumors. That's a
imagine
good rumor to
He
have
takes
about
his
yourself.
mediocre movies very serious.
Yeah,
is
'cause
like
shit, that's his-
you can't
Look,
knock
that's
it.
his
he's
cash.
gonna go
Might as
out
well,
there
dude.
and be a, like very average, and I say that with a very loose, very average acting seriously, then go be the best average actor you can fucking be. But that is the thing with those dudes that get into crazy shape like that. They are go-getters. They do go and hustle and shit, and I
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
And I get that. But how much of it comes down to the primal fear of, like, if I say no to this guy, he could tear me in fucking half. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there
No,
is
okay,
movies out
okay,
there that are like, if you touch me,
Hold
I'll
on.
sue you.
I don't know if I
Okay.
can picture The Rock.
No. I don't think.
And I'm sure
What I
he's a
will
nice
say-
guy. He seems like he is.
Okay,
This guy's fucking behemoth.
to reply to that,
Bald behemoth.
Kevin Hart.
The BB ball.
Kevin Hart is the same person as The Rock as far as movies go,
Opposite.
right? He's just funny, but he's going to be in all these movies that probably aren't that good. I don't know. Have you guys seen a good Kevin Hart movie?
I don't know if
No.
I've seen one.
And I don't
he's
even know if
bad.
he's that funny on stage. Maybe he is.
No, he's okay. I mean, I don't know. But he's another one. I'm not like crazy fan of his comedy, but he's another one. Like he fucking gets it. Like he's there,
He's a
kind of like you
hustler.
said. Like he's first to get there, last to leave, kind of thing.
He's,
And they're kind of the same person. They even act
That's
together
why
a
they're
lot.
best
Right.
friends, bro.
Yeah. So
And there's something to be said about, people talk about like how it's not about talent, it's about persistence, right?
Mhm.
Showing up and doing the damn thing.
Yeah.
I think these are just two guys who have had years of fucking persistence. They're gonna be in these movies. They're gonna make some money doing it, blah, blah, blah. But are they gonna really make an impact on anybody's life in a meaningful way? Probably not.
Fucking people love this.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of the thing. Is like, okay, they're not
the
our cup of tea.
Kardashians, man. They're
Exactly.
making an impact, man.
Are they making an impact?
Oh,
Kylie
yeah.
Jenner, the self-made billionaire.
The
Self-made
self-made
billionaire. Are you
billionaire.
fucking kidding me?
Self
And people
means
don't.
hilarious word.
People praise her for that shit. That's what I'm saying. A movie like this in 2019, and we've deviated very far from Airplane. But it wouldn't
Shit,
hold.
we got in the airplane and we took off. We're somewhere else entirely.
It's ridiculous because we are living a fucking airplane movie in the current times, and nobody cares.
It's a joke?
Yeah,
Living's a
fuck
joke.
it's Kylie Jenner, the self-made billionaire. Caitlyn Jenner, who's now a woman.
That could have been a
It's
line
all
in this
big.
movie, and it
It's
would have been
just-
hilarious.
It could have.
Let's
We
bring
could
out
be
the
on
scary
camera
movie night,
right
man.
now. You know what I mean?
Let's bring it out, man. Let's talk about them Jenners. Let's talk
But
about
nobody cares.
Yeah.
They do think that she's a self-made billionaire, youngest woman to ever. And it's I don't care about her being young or a woman or whatever, but she's not a self-made billionaire.
Right.
And you can't tell me otherwise. But other people are just like, oh my goodness, she's out there fucking
I mean, I
doing
don't
it
know.
for the women.
It's
doing it
easy
for
to
the
hate
young
on her, but
people,
like if people are
doing
getting
it-
inspired and doing shit, like does it really matter?
I mean, okay.
Where else are they gonna do anything? I don't know. Where else are they gonna get that information?
But what are they gonna do? They're just gonna sit on the fucking couch and watch the next episode. That's all they're gonna do. They're
They're
gonna
gonna try
go out-
harder at work, man. I don't know.
They're gonna
Try
go
hard at work.
outside and they're gonna grab some leaves off the trees and make some fucking lip balms. Dude. That's what they're gonna do, man.
They're gonna try
That's
harder at
tight.
work
That's cool.
to get more.
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
I know what you're trying to
Yeah.
do. And I'm just trying
I
to
know what you're
counter.
trying to do. Don't try to do that to
I don't
me.
meet you outside.
You can.
Flip it right back on your head.
They're gonna try harder at work so that they get more money to go outside and buy Kylie Jenner's fucking cosmetics.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
all it is.
Yeah.
They're not really getting it. And she's not really a self-made billionaire. She's as self-made a billionaire as if she had $999 million. She went outside and found $1 and made herself a billionaire. That's how fucking self-made she is.
What's her name? Kylie Jenner?
That's the one, right? Who's
Yeah.
Is it Kylie Jenner?
I
With
could
them
be getting wrong. There's
Kylie
so
Jenner
many of
lips.
those Kardashians these days.
Yeah. Okay, let's get back to Airplane.
All right.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
We're gonna let Jake cool off a little bit.
I'm just saying. I'm just
Just
saying.
you know,
Steve
James.
over there.
crack another seltzer. You know, let's just
What if we
get
showed
back in.
friends here.
Airplane to a group of just average
Jenners?
Okay, would they even?
I think they would think that it's too stupid. I think the comedy is
too stupid.
I think it's too face first. I think it's too.
Do you think that's what happened?
I don't know. Well,
Too
what
on the
about like the
nose.
when you walking? Is that like the crazy
Oh,
fucking like burnt
Well,
memes?
see,
Like
what you're
the
talking about
don't
the
even know
melted
what-
brain comedy? Like what kind of like I don't know. Like when you show this movie to, I'm thinking like about your sister.
Sure.
Could I show this to your sister? Your sister's 18.
Yeah.
Would she understand this movie? I don't know.
I don't think so.
She has.
Would it be fucking two? Would she just be like, that's the dumbest movie I've ever seen?
No.
5 out of
But
5,
she's
that's a
more
review?
into-
Or
she's
would she
more
be
in
like,
touch-
oh, would she be like, that's like pretty, there's some good shit there. There's like a
she's
little
more in
bit going
touch
on.
With reality than most people are,
Yeah,
so.
see? And that's my problem is that I don't really know anybody that's like younger than, I don't know,
Yeah.
your sister. That's like the youngest person I
Are
know,
you
I
serious?
think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I
My
mean, like,
girlfriend's-
okay, like my nieces and stuff, but like, I'm
Yeah.
not in,
But you
like,
say hi and you're
I'm not like
whatever,
in contact
yeah.
with them, and I'm not gonna show them this movie that just has random titties in the middle of it.
Oh my god.
It's just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So
They were
my-
just like, let's touch everything that can just be controversial. Boom, just random. But
to go
I
into
don't
so
know.
my
Yeah.
girlfriend's niece is in 8th grade, 7th grade, so she's kind of that age where the hit thing for them is TikTok. And I don't know if you guys have ever like watched TikTok
I've
videos,
seen
but
some.
it's like so a lot of it is just like underage girls dancing really weirdly, and it's just like, this is gross. But some of it is just like kind of people trying to be funny, like comedy, but it's
Like
there's
trying to
no
be Vine.
there's no punchline to it. It's like, it's so weird, and like I watched it and I'm like, I don't fucking understand this shit. I
See,
do
really?
not get
I
it.
feel like all the
Yeah.
comedy TikToks I've seen are just, they could have just been on Vine and it
Yeah,
would have been the
they're like
same.
Vine.
Vine was
Vine-ish.
different, I think. I think
don't think so.
TikTok. I don't know.
The comedy
Well,
ones that I've
because
seen are
Vine
the
was like
same.
how short were Vines? They were like 7
7
seconds. TikToks are a lot longer, I think.
They
Are
can
they?
be
I don't
like,
even
really
know.
short though.
Honestly.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Anyway, but I think I don't get Vines, or I don't get TikTok, so people that age probably wouldn't get movies like this. You know, where it's like,
So
I don't know,
Yeah.
but it's
You
just
wouldn't
different.
get
you
it.
know. You wouldn't get it. Yeah.
just like
I need to
edgy.
see that movie. Still.
Are we too edgy? You wouldn't get it, little kids.
Yeah, but
We're just too hipster, man. I think
Is it being
I want I don't know. I want to have the benefit of the doubt, but like I said, like I don't really know anybody that's like that age. Like It's
All
just,
I'm saying
it's
is
just,
if your
it's
generation
just.
spawned like dabbing and eating and shit. Like, can you really go deep with it?
This shit's empty.
You know what's hilarious is we dab and yeet all the fucking time.
Yeah, sure.
Ironically,
I've never
it's
seen
just
anyone
like,
dab
it's
more than you,
ironic.
Jay.
But it's
You
Wow.
yoink
Called
better than any of
out.
us can.
It's ironic.
Yoink
It's not
and yeet.
Right.
because I
We're
believe
making
it.
fun of
Is
it.
it not though?
But I feel like part of it for
Because I
them.
never
Because you just do it on impulse.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I'll
I
say.
never believe it.
Here's what I'll say.
Believe
Alright,
it.
alright.
They
When you
live it.
believe in the dab.
They are the dab.
Shit.
Hold on. Here's what I'll
have
say.
we
Is I don't
become? What
know
have we
that
become here tonight?
talking to like Justine's niece,
Oh,
like
shit.
when I talk to her, like I don't think they're taking that serious either. They're laughing at it just as much as we are. Like when someone
Oh.
dabs, they're like, "Oh God!" Like you know what I mean? They're just
Yeah.
like it's.
But the
cringy,
dab is like already like 4 years
or
old,
whatever
right?
it is,
Like,
whatever
it's
it may
old,
be.
yeah.
It's like
They do the
it-
fucking
They're
shoot
laughing
the
at
whoop
it kind
or
of like
whatever the
this.
fuck. What's that little thing where they lock it?
Oh, where they?
Yeah.
Yeah, God.
They shoot it.
Okay,
whatever
let's
it was
fucking
called.
get to. Let's wrap this fucking episode up. All right, let's start with James.
Oh,
We're gonna start
God.
with you, James.
All right. We're gonna get
What movie
into
did we watch?
some reviews for the movie Airplane.
You're fine.
That's right.
Oh man, what a movie! I was laughing my ass off from the beginning to the end. Just the jokes that they made. Yeah, while they were, some of them were really stupid, and I think that's what I was trying to get at with like.
Yeah.
I think some people that are younger would just be like, "This is stupid," like that might not be their kind
I feel like
of.
the
This
whole,
bitch empty
The
and then-
whole disco scene was that to me. I was just like,
Yeah, it was a little cringy, but I could see for that time they were probably like, oh, this is exactly
yeah,
what
for
fucking
sure.
happens in the club every time this damn fucking song comes on.
Yeah.
Everyone's dancing. It's fucking stupid, but like, oh man, like I could see like where this movie just like inspired an entire like generation of comedy. Like with, I'm not a big Family Guy fan, but like sometimes when they do those damn jokes that are so fucking long that it becomes cringy in a sense.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of that in there where those girls are fighting for so fucking
God,
long.
yeah.
They go through
3
the entire
scenes.
dancing, they're still
Yeah.
fighting. But like Family Guy makes it way worse and way like awkward. Like it's more
Yeah.
like drug out, and you're just like, what the hell? This is too much. But my favorite part of the thing is just like all the actors. Like they're just too good. The way they like deliver their lines, and they're just so like perfect. Just the way they
Yeah.
deliver them, and then like the way the lighting is on their face, and like it's just super bright lighting. I don't know if that's like typical of like romance movies in those days, or like maybe a little bit earlier than that era. But like it just reminds me of like those old movies where like all the lights are just super bright on your face. It just, I don't know, it just gives you a like good feeling of nostalgia, and it's just like it just feels so good to me.
Yeah.
But the actors were my favorite thing, and like the comedy was just so good. But it's a really good movie. I've never seen this movie before, but I think I give it an 8.5 out of 10. That's a review for me.
Right.
What about you,
Respectable
Tanner? What do you
rating.
think? What do you think?
So, of course, I thought most of it was really funny. Like just all the puns and all like the timeless things were really good. And there's a lot of stuff that was obviously really dated, like the, I don't know, like the pedophile shit. Like that was just weird. You
That's
know what I
kind
mean?
of
Like
weird, yeah.
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 the jive talk was just a little weird, stuff like that. I was just like, okay, like I get, like in the time it was probably lesser
Right.
Yeah.
or not as bad or whatever, but yeah, I think the setting just being like on the airplane and shit, you get to see the same group of people the whole time. Like the different passengers you see like in 1 or 2 scenes, and their jokes
Yeah.
just carry throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
So good, dude. I don't
By the
know.
way, the people who hung themselves and killed themselves, were they alive at the end? I don't even.
I have no
The
idea.
lady who
No.
hung herself, wasn't she talking again at the end?
I
Or am I honestly? I
I
don't
don't think
remember.
so. It's
Honestly, I
probably
don't
some
remember.
other
Okay,
lady.
I just wanted to.
That'd have been
I
fun
just
to
wanted to
watch.
clarify. Okay, go ahead.
That was,
Sorry.
That was crazy.
Those are
That shit was like, why? There was some parts that were just so fucking brutal. That was like, this is
Yeah.
like shocking.
She's
I think
just
in that,
swinging. Oh man, it was
yeah,
weird. It was
yeah,
weird.
Yeah,
shock value at its finest.
There's a
but
lot of
yeah.
laughs There's a lot of like, oh,
Yeah,
like, oh
yeah,
my
yeah. They're just like
God.
they did that. They went
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. The acting was amazing. Leslie Nielsen's a fucking legend.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think
Yeah.
8.8 for me.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. I think just this movie did so much for pop culture at that time, and then going forward, like just so many references from the show Family Guy. Like it was like, oh my god, like they're basing so much of their comedy. They're paying so much respect to what this movie did. So that alone is just so great to see that a movie could stand the test of time that well. And I think, like we've said before, the actors, Leslie Nielsen, just did so well in delivering his lines where, like I was saying, like if you wrote it on paper, if you just said it aloud, it's not funny, but he just makes it funny. And all of the one-liners, like the, and don't call me Shirley, and like just how all of those things have, like we still say those today. I don't know, like this was just a great movie. Like it was, so I don't know, I guess I'd agree with James. 8.5 is where I would go with this one.
Wow. I thought you would have
Yeah.
been...
It's a solid rating.
Yes.
You thought I was going to say 10?
Maybe not 10, but probably a 9 point something.
A niner.
8.5. It was good. It was
Yeah.
hilarious.
I did see this movie before tonight, but seeing it again, I mean, it was like just as funny. Like, and I didn't even see it that long ago, and it was still like hilarious.
Yeah.
I think it's in the Library of Congress for a reason.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fucking funny.
Yeah.
It's got timing in a way that's not like instantaneous or like nearsighted timing, but timing that stretches through the length of the movie that's still good. It's got like ridiculous things that they really went out there to try to do. I think it's fucking hilarious. I mean, I'm sure it was really funny in the 80s, and I'm sure that things went over better back then too. Like there is things that would be like more taboo to talk about in 2019, but it's still good that they're, I think, in the movie in terms of like, hey, they did this. It's been done before, even if it's like a bigger deal now. This is still a way to maybe bring those things up.
Yeah.
But it's just downright funny. Go see Police Squad if you haven't seen Police Squad, because that is just a series of this kind of comedy. It's so good. I would give it. I'm gonna err on the side of like a 8.9. Like it's real close. It's up there.
Yeah.
It's real up there.
It is. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
So what are we at? What are we now, right? We are still at twitch.tv/rigmarole production. Okay.
For now.
We would love to know what you guys hear about, or what you guys think about this movie. If you've seen it, what you would rate it. Email us at filmfumblers@gmail.com. Follow us on twitch.tv/hopefully filmfumblers if we switch it to some point.
in about 2 weeks' time,
Yeah.
if we can get it switched over. If not, Rigmarole Productions.
Yeah.
for
Twitter
right
and
now.
Instagram at Film Fumblers, everything.
Yeah, everything
Mostly.
else Film Fumblers.
But yeah, until next time, are we doing Phantom Menace next?
I think
yeah,
so,
yeah.
yeah.
Join us next week when we do Star Wars Episode 1, Phantom Menace.
Now Disney Plus.
Oh Jesus!
See you guys next time.
Cheers, guys.